Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Caleb Carter, and you are now tuned in to the In the Cut podcast. And look, I already know what you're going to say, and I know I say that a lot, because I really do know what you're going to say. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we last heard from each other, even though I don't hear from you, you hear from me. But, look, I'm going to just give y'all a quick update on what life has been like for me. Been working, got a job, so I've been working. If you wonder, I still have been doing my own air in front of the mic type thing, but now it's for my old school, my alma mater of Prairie View A&M University. I've been calling games for the baseball team over there. That's no excuses for why I haven't been on the podcast scene. But look, your boy has been working, so I ain't just out here slacking around doing nothing and not giving y'all content. But look, man, I do want to give a shout out to all the listeners. There's a region specifically why I want to give a shout out to, and that's to the listener in Canada. The reason why I say listener, because I can see the percentages in it from what the percentages indicate, is that it's only one person listening from Canada, but hey, I appreciate you, whoever you are. Shout out to you. Quick little thing, just because it's on my mind. I remember when I was little, I used to lie about where I was from all the time. And the place that I would say I was from was Canada. I used to say I could speak French because, in Canada, people can speak French, like in Montreal, Quebec, stuff like that. So I used to be like, parlez-vous français? All that means is, do you speak French? That's the only thing I used to know in French. But it used to get me by when I was in like 4th grade. So shout out to the listener in Canada. But hey, man, for everybody else, do me a favor. Y'all know the drill. Go to Twitter. Go to Instagram. On Instagram is @the_in-the-cut-show. On Twitter, it is @the_in-the-cut-show. @the_in-the-cut-show. On Facebook, it's the same as Twitter. @the_in-the-cut-show. Follow that for all your updates and anything that comes out. Content, pictures, videos, clips, things like that. That's where that will be. So go support your boy on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But hey, man, one real quick thought before we actually get into the show itself. Because I've been commentating games, I'm play-by-play at Prairie View A&M University for the baseball team. One thing that really disgusted me, and I can say this because today, as I'm recording this, is opening day for the MLB, so baseball is heavy on my mind. But one thing I've never gotten, and I just can't stand, is the bat flip thing. And I'm not talking about people bat flipping. I'm talking about the people who don't like bat flipping. We were at Prairie View. Guy hits a 3-run home run to put his team on top of a rival, mind you. He flips his bat in celebration, and he's tossed from the game by the umpire because of the bat flip. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do I get that, supposedly it could be a safety issue with the bat flip. You don't know where it might land or whatever the case might be, sure. But this whole thing of respecting the pitcher, respecting the game, stop. I mean, what are we doing? He's respecting the game by hitting a home run. Okay? So can we just be done with the bat flip thing? I mean, I think we're in 2024. We should have advanced past those type of thoughts by now, but maybe that, I know it ain't just me, but the old guard of the MLB or baseball in general, you guys need to move past that. And when you do, I think we'd be a better place here on earth. Moving on into this next topic. You see it on your screen. And for the people who are only listeners, audio that is, J.J McCarthy, the quarterback from Michigan, starting quarterback from Michigan. Michigan just won the national championship in college football. For those who don't know, J.J McCarthy is now being projected as a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, does that even sound right for my people who keep up with college football? J.J. McCarthy, 2-time starter for the Wolverines in Michigan. Won a natty this year, I get it. But top 5 NFL draft? So, one thing that I did, because I'm not going to pretend like, I watch every Michigan snap while they was on a national championship run. I'm not going to pretend like I did that. But what I am going to do is pay attention to all the people who covered college football, covered Michigan, and what they said throughout the course of the season and what they're saying now, right? Because throughout the course of the season, from, just from my seat, was J.J. McCarthy good? Yeah, sure. Michigan was always good. They just needed a quarterback who could possibly make them better. And that's what J.J. McCarthy did. So, kudos to him. But are we going to pretend like he was just this stud, this top 5 pick? I think we've begun to lose ourselves. And it reminds me of, and let me slow down. That was what people said before the season ended with J.J. McCarthy. That he was a good quarterback, the quarterback that Michigan needed, to take them from a 12-win, 13-win team to the national championship. So kudos to him. But this is what people are saying now. So I'm going to toss it to this clip of Joel Klatt, a guy who covers college football. I really like Joel Klatt and all what he brings. He informs me quite a bit. So this is what he said about J.J. McCarthy possibly being a top 5 pick.
No college football analyst, other than the voice of the Michigan Wolverines, saw J.J. McCarthy more than Joel Klatt. When they decide against Penn State to not let him throw, people are like, whoa. My thing is, I think Caleb would succeed anywhere. Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence. But I think most of these young guys succeed based on where they land. If I'm J.J. McCarthy, this feels like perfect. You saw him a lot. Are there one or two things that you are a little hesitant if the fit wasn't perfect?
That's a great question. So first of all, yes. I mean, and just to give you some level of backing on, I saw him a lot. I saw him 16 times the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
So I've seen basically every snap that he's taken, and he's grown a lot. I think my one question, and it's more of a question rather than a knock on him, is that the volume of times that he was asked to do what Michael Penix did, which was stand in the pocket and control the game from the pocket in a full field read down the field, was not nearly the volume that Penix did that. Penix did it, 15, 20 times per game this last year, and McCarthy maybe did it 4 to 6 times per game. So that type of rep volume is not in his bag. Now, having said that, when you watch J.J. McCarthy's game, and as he's grown and as he's matured, what you're going to see is a guy that totally impacts the game in a positive way for his team in crucial situations, and namely on third down. When you watch first and second down, you get lulled into the Michigan way and the Michigan philosophy and their schematics, Colin. And they're going to run the football and they're going to do what Michigan does. And then on third down, a lot of it was like, okay, JJ, now it's in your court. And the reason that they went 15-0 and the reason that they won the national championship was that they had a player that could go above the X's and O's in the moments that they needed him to, namely on third down and third and long. And when you watch those cut-ups, you can immediately see and feel why these GMs and decision makers in the NFL are falling in love with J.J. McCarthy. They want players that can do that. And quarterbacks in the National Football League, crunch time, have to do that. And he can.
So that was Joel Klatt talking about J.J. McCarthy. He said he probably will go top 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks will be taken. J.J. McCarthy being the 4th, and he will go to Arizona, where Kyler Murray currently is the starting quarterback. Probably, I think that's what he's insinuating at least, replacing Kyler Murray as the starting quarterback. At least that's what a top 4 pick would usually do. Let's be honest. But here's the thing that really gets me about what Joel Klatt had to say, right? Because Joel Klatt flagrantly admitted that, hey, J.J. McCarthy, compared to Michael Penix, he wasn't asked to just stand in the pocket, read the field, and deliver as many times as Michael Penix was. Michael Penix being asked that for a bulk of his dropbacks versus J.J. McCarthy being asked to do that for maybe 4 to 6 times from Joel Klatt's point of view. Let's just think about that and where we've seen Michael Penix fall to in mock drafts compared to the elevation that we've seen from J.J. McCarthy. And then he said that, but his impact on the game, on winning, he has a positive impact on winning, especially on third down. He goes above the X's and O's. Well, I would think so for a projected top 5 pick, let alone a first rounder. So what are we? I just don't get where this J.J. McCarthy hype is coming from. Let's be honest, right? So I did some digging. I said, let me go look at J.J. McCarthy's stats, right? Because I'm like, I didn't watch every snap, but numbers might help tell a story. So I looked at J.J. McCarthy's numbers, right? Respectable. 2,991 yards, 22 touchdowns, had a 72 completion percentage, and an 88 QBR, which was 3rd overall. That sounds pretty decent. It doesn't sound top 4 to me. So what I did was go look in previous drafts to people who might have had similar statistics in college. I'm going to just say these stats, and then I'm going to tell you the quarterback. This quarterback had 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, had a little bit worse completion percentage with 67, and this guy won 2 national championships. For those who don't know, that guy is A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron was a nice quarterback. He played for Alabama back in the day. Guess where A.J. McCarron was drafted? A.J. McCarron was drafted in the 5th round, 164th overall. So can we stop acting like J.J. McCarthy is just marginally better than what we've seen from A.J. McCarron? Right? Carried by the running game, carried by the defense. He made his plays here and there, but nobody saw A.J. McCarron as some top 5 overall pick. So I just don't understand where we're seeing that with J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, I heard someone say that J.J. McCarthy could be a Kirk Cousins. And I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a good starter in the NFL. And we're going to get to what happened with Kirk Cousins in free agency. But someone said that Kirk Cousins, or J.J. McCarthy, is could be a Kirk Cousins. So I looked at where Kirk Cousins was drafted. Kirk Cousins was drafted in the 4th round, 102nd overall. But J.J. McCarthy somehow is about to be top 5, top 4. I don't get it. So I went up and looked even further. I said, okay, maybe he could be even better than Kirk Cousins. Because J.J. McCarthy, from what they tell me, he can move a little bit. So I was like, okay, who is Kirk Cousins but can move? I looked up Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott also went in the 4th round, 5th pick overall. But here we have J.J. McCarthy, who's about to go top 4. I don't get it. And maybe, I don't think, actually, I'm not even going to say that. Because I don't think I can see the light. You know what this talk about J.J. McCarthy reminds me of? It reminds me of Daniel Jones, Mitch Trubisky, Zach Wilson. It reminds me of those guys. Guys who, you know, we knew about them in college. You know, they were over there. But next thing you know, after the draft is over, their stock just continues to rise out of nowhere, seemingly. And now they're top 5, top 10 picks. I see the same thing for J.J. McCarthy. And if I'm wrong, J.J. McCarthy goes in the league and balls out, I'll be the first one to admit it. But as of right now, the writing on the wall tells me that J.J. McCarthy will not be good in the league. Especially if he's drafted top 4, top 5. He won't live up to the status. I mean, because out of Daniel Jones, Mitch Trubisky, what's his name? And Zach Wilson. Mitch Trubisky had a good year, carried by his defense. And after that, we haven't heard much from Mitch Trubisky. Daniel Jones last year, shout out to Brian Daboll, had a pretty decent year. Well, year before last. Got to the playoffs. Are we confusing Daniel Jones for some Pro Bowler? I don't think we are. So I think we just need to slow our roll with J.J. McCarthy. We gotta quit this nonsense of acting like he's top 4, top 5 talent. He's not. And it's okay. If you want to take him mid to late first round, that puts me a bit more at ease. But taking him top 4, replacing Kyler Murray with him? No, I just can't get with it. But that's enough about J.J. McCarthy. Some quick news that I saw in the online, on Twitter and stuff like that. Caitlin Clark. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. March Madness is going on. I hope y'all are paying attention because I'm not. But Caitlin Clark, I'm going to wait till the Elite Eight. You know, I'm going to wait till LSU play Iowa on the women's side. I'm talking about, I don't see myself ever watching the men's this year. I'm just disinterested. Call me a casual. Oh, well. But Caitlin Clark received a $5 million offer from Ice Cube to play in the Big 3 League. For those who don't know, the Big 3 was a league where players would play 3-on-3. Usually retired players, retired NBA players. So guys like Steven Jackson, Charlie Villanueva, Big Baby Davis. Those are the type of people that you would see former NBA players come to the Big 3. But Ice Cube's reasoning for Caitlin Clark, mind you, this is the most anybody will have ever been paid in the Big 3. And this will probably be more than Caitlin Clark will be paid in the WNBA. Ice Cube's reasoning was, hey, instead of going overseas like many WNBA players do, because if you didn't know, many WNBA players during the offseason, they go play overseas, not only so they can stay fresh, but so they can make more money. Right? I mean, the WNBA, in comparison to the other professional leagues, aren't really getting the slice of the pie that they would hope for. So Ice Cube offers Caitlin Clark $5 million to come play in the Big 3 League instead of going overseas during the offseason. So shout out to Ice Cube for that. We'll see if Caitlin Clark accepts that deal, and that news may have already came out. But I think it's an interesting development about whether Caitlin Clark would take that money. And while we're on the topic of basketball, man, look, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to the NBA, but I've been paying attention to one team, my Houston Rockets. Shout out to Ime Udoka, Jalen Green, all them boys. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Houston Rockets are on a 10-game winning streak. I'm pretty sure that's the best in the league. Best in the league. Just had to confirm that. Rockets on a 10-game winning streak, currently the 11th seed in the West, probably about to sneak into that play-in tournament, and then things can get crazy, as we already have seen with previous years. So shout out to the Houston Rockets, Ime Udoka, for being on this 10-game winning streak and looking like a young, promising team. But when we turn our focus to the rest of the NBA, man, I'll never forget because Bron is my GOAT. LeBron James is my greatest player of all time. I don't care. Fight with me in the comments. Fight with yourself in the comments. But I was watching last year's NBA playoffs, and the Lakers, who were in the play-in, got on a sneaky run, made it to the Western Conference Finals. And I was like, okay, hold on. They might be on to something. They might be able to make it to the NBA Finals. Then they ran into a brick wall known as the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic slapped them up, swept them. And that changed my whole perspective on what I'm seeing from the Denver Nuggets right now. I mean, the Denver Nuggets, just a couple of days ago, weeks ago, they were like the 4th, 5th seed. Then they said, oh, okay, playoffs coming around, let's actually play now. And they made their way to the 1 seed in the Western Conference, looking like the best team in the West. Might be the best team overall, but the Celtics currently hold that actual title because they have the best record in the NBA. And right now, I don't see anybody in the East, at least, who can get in the Celtics' way. Because you got Milwaukee, who's been, they're the 2nd seed, but they've been kind of underperforming. Let's call it what it is. Giannis got Adrian Griffin fired from head coach. Now Doc Rivers came in, and they still haven't really figured it out. Giannis been in and out the lineup. Damian Lillard has been trying to resurface and do some things, but Milwaukee just doesn't seem right. I don't trust the Knicks or the Cavs or anybody else in the East, right? And out West, you got the Timberwolves and the Thunder playing above their age, doing what they do. I don't really think it's their time yet, right? I like Ant. I really do like Ant, and I like Shea. But I don't think it's their time yet. I think Denver is still those people in the West. Then you got the Clippers and Pelicans and all these other teams. So I right now, I think Denver and the Celtics are the 2 leading parties in the NBA. So we'll see how that shakes up. Y'all saw it a little bit earlier if y'all were watching on YouTube. Shout out to Caleb Carter TV on YouTube, where you can catch all your podcasts. But NFL free agency. I know I'm terribly late to it, so we're going to move through this pretty quick. But the NFL free agency period was disgusting if you paid attention. And I'm not going to go through all of them because it was too much to name. Starting off with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, the longtime starter for the Vikings, made his way down to ATL. Now finna be the Falcons quarterback. Crazy thing about the Falcons right now, you got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, it's something about Kyle Pitts that we don't know. And what I mean by that is he's good. He's a great talent, but I feel like he underperforms. And maybe that's just me. He's the type of guy where it's like, man, I really want to take this guy in fantasy because I know how good he could be. But somehow we all get tricked. Stay tuned on Kyle Pitts. But they got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. And now you bring in Kirk Cousins to that situation. I think the Falcons are a playoff team. Right? Because that division really ain't too great. You got Baker in Tampa Bay, but all right, we act like they some type of juggernaut. I don't think so. So I think Kirk Cousins was a good move for the Falcons. You got the Steelers going out to get Russ and trading for Justin Fields. So that could be a little QB competition. Want to see how that pans out. I think I'm rooting for both of them, honestly, because I don't like the way Sean Payton did Russell Wilson in Denver. But I also think that Justin Fields needs an actual shot in the league, right? So if there's a way that both of them could play well, but Justin Fields probably ends up taking the starting job, I would be okay with that. So we'll see how that pans out. But I do think the Steelers will be a good team because, I mean, with Mike Tomlin as the head coach, they're like guaranteed to win 9 games somehow, right? They probably cheating or something like that because I don't know how they keep doing it with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. So we'll see what they do with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields now. Then you got Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. If y'all know, or if y'all been listening for a minute, the Eagles are my second team to my hometown team of Houston. So I love seeing Saquon Barkley go to Philly. And that offense is going to be crazier than it already was. And people want to talk about, just real quick, people want to talk about how the offense had a bad year. That offense was 7th in the league. Still top 10. And that's a down year. So if you actually watch the games from Philly, you know that defense was trash. I mean, didn't want to tackle. Couldn't bust a grape. So, now I think that offense is going to be powerful, and we'll see what the defense can do now that you got Vic Fangio at DC. But now moving on, lastly, to my Houston Texans. And let me tell you something about the Houston Texans. They haven't been making any, splash moves. But it's been said because now that everybody sees C.J. Stroud and they want to hop on the bandwagon. But Houston has been making some sneaky good moves. And you know what I'm saying? They're just building that core for C.J. Because I don't think that the Texans are a legit Super Bowl contender yet. But I do think that nobody will want to play Houston next year. I think they 2 years away from being that legit contender. But I don't think nobody want to come down to Houston and play us, or Houston have to travel to them. Because you get people like Danielle Hunter, right? Had 16 sacks last year, Pro Bowler guy. So that's a good pickup, right? You get Azeez Al-Shaair from 49ers. He was a backup, so most people really didn't see him like that. Because, I mean, you got Greenlaw and Warner in San Fran, so of course, he may not get the reps that he needs to. But when he was on the field, he was that guy, right? I mean, we saw him in the Super Bowl fill in for Greenlaw when he went down. And although he may not be Dre Greenlaw, he still made his presence felt. So I think that's another good pickup, especially when you let, I can't even think of it, Blake Cashman go. So I think Al-Shaair is a good pickup. Last one, I mean, we keep Dalton Schultz, and then you pick up Jeff Okudah at corner. Possibly could be that second corner or third corner because Jeff Okudah has kind of fallen off from what we thought he could be back when he was drafted. I mean, he was injured, so I'll give him that he tore his Achilles. But, so we'll see if he can kind of resurrect his career here in Houston. We'll see. I think that'll be pretty interesting to follow. But hey, man, we kind of ran through this one pretty quick. I mean, this actually might be one of the longer episodes, but it felt quick to me. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Definitely, once again, appreciate y'all for being in the cut with your man, like Peroxide. So I definitely appreciate y'all for doing that. Go check out In the Cut on all the social medias. You see them. _, In the Cut Show on Instagram. At The In the Cut Show on Twitter. At The In the Cut Show on Facebook. Go check your boy out. Hey, man. Appreciate y'all for listening. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace out.